Okay everybody, thanks again for joining me for the 12 steps to more leads, customers and growth through pay-per-click marketing. My name's George Ogunsiji. I appreciate everybody being here today. I know you are all busy and you have a lot to do with your time, so I appreciate you spending some of it with me. We have about 45 to 60 minutes for today's presentation, and then we'll get you back to work as quickly as possible. So let's get going and let's get started with today's agenda. Firstly, we're going to cover the what pay-per-click actually is. I know that for quite a few of you, pay-per-click is somewhat new, so we'll do a brief overview there. Then we'll cover 12 steps to effective use of pay-per-click for your business, and then a handful of must-know tips and strategies on more of the advanced side for those of you who are already doing pay-per-click and are looking for ways to take it to the next level. Okay, so what is pay-per-click, or PPC as it's commonly referred to? Well, PPC is search advertising. And what exactly is what exactly does that mean? Well, there are all kinds of all forms of advertising. Search advertising in particular is advertising on the search engines, targeting people who are searching for specific terms in those search engines. Here you can see Google AdWords, which is by far and away the 800-pound gorilla in the marketplace. Then you have Yahoo and Bing, which combined a handful of years ago in an effort to give Google a run for their money. They are, however, still a distant second place, but still a strong contender, and are experiencing some decent growth right now. However, I'm sure that you're very familiar with the Google search engine in particular, and although some of you may prefer to use Yahoo and Bing for your search engines, regardless, in either one of the search engines you have a search box where you type in a phrase of something that you're looking for or searching for, and when you do, you get results in the search engines. So pretty basic stuff, something that I'm sure the vast majority, if not all of you, are fully familiar with. Now, this is the Google search result for something totally random here, New York City Volvo repair. Now you can see here that the results come in two columns, the left column and the right column. I'm sure most of you are aware of this, but if you look closely, all of the right column results are ads. In this case, the top several results in this main column are also ads. Now this is search advertising, or PPC advertising, being done by those businesses targeting the phrase New York City Volvo repair, or maybe New York Volvo repair, or just Volvo repair, depending on what campaign they've created for their business. We will talk about some of those details in a bit, and this is search advertising, or PPC advertising. Now really, anytime you're searching, typically, if you just look towards the top and towards the right, you will see adverts being done on the PPC platform within the search engines. Now this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. This has been the engine of growth and the engine of massive riches for Google. This is what has allowed them to become the most influential business, or one of the most influential businesses over the last decade or so. You can see in 2012 that 95% of Google's $50 billion in revenue came from advertising. This is absolutely massive, and it's a massive opportunity now for those search engines to really create a cash gusher in the form of this PPC advertising. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Yahoo and Bing have joined forces and now own about 30% of the market. And you can see over here that this industry has become so big and so lucrative, and it touches so many businesses in so many ways, that you have companies like Comscore and other companies that really have created this whole new cottage industry just out of studying what's going on in the PPC marketplace. Like where money is being spent, how effective it is, and all of that good stuff. And you can see here that in terms of search share, in March 2013, Google has 67.1% of the market. And if you combine Microsoft and Yahoo, they're close to 30%, although they're not quite there. It's a very, very big industry, and a very lucrative industry. It's very powerful for those search engines, and also for the businesses and advertisers that know how to take advantage of PPC advertising. Now you can see here the top 10 industries advertising on Google AdWords. AdWords is the name of Google's PPC advertising platform. Just in case that, if you weren't aware, AdWords is the name for Google's PPC advertising platform. Now the top 10 industries are finance, travel, shopping, jobs and education, internet and telecom, computers and electronics, business and industrial, which is a pretty broad category, home and garden, autos and vehicles, and beauty and fitness. Now, just about everything you can imagine falls into one of those 10 categories. If it's not on that list, I can assure you that no matter what industry it is, people are still doing PPC advertising, even if it's not in the top 10 here. There is success being had across every industry when it comes to PPC advertising. No matter what business you're in, as you sit and listen to this presentation, I can assure you that there are opportunities to successfully take advantage of PPC advertising for your business. And again, here are some interesting stats. As I said, it's become a cottage industry to study everything that's happening in the PPC marketplace. There's some huge amounts of data out there, and some of it is pretty interesting. Depending on what industry you're in, you can see some of the numbers. It's nice because you can get some benchmarks as to how your ads or your campaigns are performing against other people in your industry. Okay, how does this industry that popped up from absolutely nothing about a dozen or so years ago do 50 billion or 100 billion in revenue? How does it all work? Well, as an advertiser, it's actually quite simple. You can create ads and you set bids for those ads. In other words, how much you're willing to pay per click, which is why it's called pay-per-click or PPC. You then total budgets. You could say, I'm willing to spend $1 a click and I have $100 a day to spend. Now theoretically, you could get $100 worth of clicks at $1 per click for your bid. Now there's some nuances here. Just because you bid $1 doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to pay as high as $1. You may actually pay less. However, you will not pay more. So you could actually get more than 100 clicks there. Now it's pretty simple. You can create the ad, you can set the bid and the budget. Now as you can see here, this is creation of an ad inside Google's AdWords program. You can see how simple it is. You have a headline, you have a description line 2, display URL, which is the URL showing in the ad, and the destination URL, which is the actual location to which you're going to send the person who clicks on the ad. And this can be a little different from the display URL. Now it's a very, very simple process. Once you have created the ad and you have your bid, then your ads appear based on specific keyword searches. You can see here that this ad is for gas grills on sale. Now, if I was to target this ad when I'm creating my campaign to searches for the term gas grills, and this ad would show up. Again, it's pretty simple. As always, with everything there are details and nuances once you get into the programs of how to do it most effectively. There's a lot to this in this particular case, but the basics of it are really quite simple. Visitors who click through are then taken to your page of choice, which is the destination URL, the destination where you're sending them to. Your account then gets charged until the maximum budget is reached, so it's pretty straightforward. So what are the advantages of using PPC? Why has this caught on so wildly? Well, first of all, ads only appear on relevant searches. So when you consider any other form of advertising, you're sending an ad out into the world for somebody to see regardless of whether or not they've actually expressed an interest in seeing that ad. In search advertising, in PPC advertising, people have actually typed in certain words. You're only showing your ad to people who have typed in a relevant keyword or keyword phrase. Your ads are therefore very, very targeted, which is the real allure of these ad programs. It's very, very targeted advertising and targeted spending. Now, the other major advantage is that you're only paying when somebody clicks on the ad. If you show that ad and for whatever reason the person who saw that ad was the wrong person to see it, or they weren't interested and so they don't click on your ad, then you're not being charged. And again, this is very, very powerful. It's a very compelling concept when it comes to advertising. There is very little advertising that works this way. Now, it's easy to measure return on investment. The beauty of doing online advertising is that everything is captured and every detail is tracked. It's very simple to track how these ads are doing. In fact, businesses are tracking at making $2 in revenue for every dollar spent on PPC advertising. You have high return on investment, easy to maneuver ROI, a very attractive pay-per-performance model, and ads only appear on very targeted relevant searches. When you combine all of these things, you can see why PPC advertising really has taken off. It really is a very powerful advertising concept. Another reason is that it levels the playing field for advertisers. Now, if you consider the number of businesses out there that can't possibly afford to compete on advertising budget with massive brands and massive companies, PPC advertising brings a whole new opportunity for those small businesses with smaller budgets still to compete. Now, I can't compete with Coca-Cola on Super Bowl ads. I can't compete with Geico Insurance on radio ads. There is no way I possibly can. Those brands can afford to absolutely blanket the market with their advertising. However, I can compete absolutely directly head on with those brands when it comes to specific search in the search engines. I have the ability to run my ads against the biggest brands. I have the ability to show up on the first page of Google or Bing just by placing an ad or being willing to pay for it. Even if my site does not organically rank really high in the search engines, I can make sure that I show up. Now, here's an ad for Perfect LA Headshots, a very, very competitive market for actors and models out in the Los Angeles area where there are tons and tons of aspiring actors and models. They come out to LA and need to get their headshots done, so it's a very, very lucrative little niche. Now, if Perfect LA Headshots doesn't rank organically because somebody else has been running headshots in LA for decades and they have the #1 spot on Google, they can still compete by running an ad and showing up on page 1. Now, this gives you instant reach to a massive amount of qualified prospects and allows you to skip that organic SEO waiting game that can be so painful and so unreliable. Now, this is a very, very attractive advertising model for all kinds of businesses, but I think it's particularly advantageous for smaller businesses looking for the absolutely highest bang for their buck when it comes to advertising. So what is PPC advertising? Let's now move on to part 2, 12 steps to effective use of PPC for your business. As I mentioned earlier, creating an ad, creating a campaign is very, very simple, but there's a lot of planning involved that you need to consider. There's a lot of nuance in how it's done most effectively. Now, in my business, we do PPC management for many businesses, and I find that most businesses, because it's so simple and easy to set up campaigns, do so by trying to take advantage of PPC. However, because they're running a full-time business, they don't have the time to pay attention to the details and nuances of setting up a campaign effectively. They end up with poor results and a lot of wasted money in the process. These 12 steps are going to give you some of the fundamentals to setting up your campaigns and managing your campaigns properly. Okay, now the first step is to define a clear goal. Now, depending on the nature of your business, that goal will vary widely from one business to another. Some businesses are looking to drive someone to a shopping cart and have them make a purchase right at that minute. Now, if you're selling some lower end commoditized product or you just have a retail e-commerce in nature product, you can drive people straight to a cart and have them buy something. Now, for other businesses such as an insurance agent, a law firm, or businesses like that, capturing a lead is the primary goal. They're trying to get somebody to ask for more information about their firm or their services. Now, it's important that you're absolutely clear about what's realistic for your business, and that you define a clear goal. You then need to think through the actual sales or marketing funnel that you plan on bringing that prospect through to turn them into revenue. Now, this diagram represents a sales funnel laid on its side. It says we have 10,000 total visitors to a site. 6,000 of those have visited our shopping area. 1,800 of them actually placed something in the cart, and 54 made an actual purchase. Now, you're able to measure every step of the way and then strategically plan the best way to get a prospect through that funnel, and then create the very best ad to run to make it possible. Now, defining a clear goal is absolutely critical. And again, depending on the type or kind of business you have, your goal will vary. Now, a merchant or a producer of a product may be going straight for sales in an e-commerce store. Other types of businesses may be going for leads and downloads of a white paper or request for services. A publisher, somebody who is publishing content online, may just be looking for traffic. A brander, however, could just be looking for awareness of their brand. Now, depending on the type of business that you have and the goals of your campaign, these things will change. You need to make sure that you're clear about what you're looking for. Now, of course, your strategy in your campaign, how much you're willing to spend, and things like that will vary. Okay, step 2. Research your competitors. Now, you always want to get out there and take a look at what your competitors are actually doing. Who seems to be the strongest? Who's out there running campaigns with the most keywords? Who's running campaigns as consistently as possible? If you see a competitor running ads every single day for a big variety of keywords, and they've been doing so for months and months, well, it's quite possible that that competitor is doing very, very well with those ads. Go and study what their ads look like. When you click on the ad, where does it take you to? What does their funnel actually look like? If you opt into a page for a report or a request of services or request for services, or you buy a product, how are they keeping in touch with you? How are they trying to convert you into the most lucrative customer you can be? Now, this is a fantastic market research vehicle because all of your competitors' ads are essentially right there in front of you to see. Next, you want to do keyword research. So step 3, keyword research. Now, keyword research means that you can essentially peer into the guts of the search engines to see exactly what people are searching for, how often they're searching for it, how competitive those keywords are in terms of other advertisers bidding for them, and how much those keywords cost to bid on them. Now, it's really amazing how much information you can get from search engines to help you plan your campaigns. With search advertising, it's all based on the keyword or the keyword phrase that somebody is searching for. Now, this is how you base the target of your ad campaign. It's based on the keywords or keyword phrases. Now, you want to discover exactly what people are looking for, and you also want to learn their preferred keywords. This is so important. You need to realize that the language you use for your products and services may not be the same language used by your prospects. You really want to investigate this, especially for those of you in industries where there are a lot of buzzwords and industry-specific jargon. Your customers may not be aware of that jargon like you are. They may use completely different language and verbiage. So it's important that you don't just assume that your language or your lexicon is the language of the customer. Get in there and do the research to find out. Now, again, find out how heavy the competition is for each of those keywords. You can see here that this is from the inside of Google. Google changes up their tools for doing keyword research all the time. Now here's a screenshot about cars. It shows you the new cars, used cars and cheap cars. You can see the estimated average cost per click. This is how much they estimate it will cost you to get a click for these keywords. Now with advertiser competition, you can see there are full green bars, and in this case all of them are full green bars. This means it's very, very competitive. You can see the search volume in 1 month. Man, look at the search volume. That's 101 million searches in 1 month for the term cars. The data that you can get from search engines really is quite phenomenal. Now, step 4, choose your destination wisely. When you're paying for somebody to click on your ad, you want to make sure that when they click on your ad, you are sending them to the right place to get the desired result that you're seeking. Now, a lot of PPC advertisers make the colossal mistake in that they send everybody to the very same page, and it's usually just the home page of their website. Now, this is very, very ineffective, and it really is it's potentially a criminal waste of your advertising budget. Decide where you're going to send your visitors that click through, and you want to make sure that that destination is consistent with your ad message. Now in this case, for SEO management software, if I'd done a search for website templates and then I was brought to a landing page that said SEO management software, then quite clearly, obviously, it's going to be a poor fit. It's not in alignment with the message I was expecting to see. I'm most likely going to hit my back button in my browser and look for one of their competitors. You want to make sure that the destination is consistent with the ad message. When somebody sees a certain message on the ad and they click to it, they should see a very similar, if not identical, message on the page where they end up. You want to design the ad for conversion for your specific goal. And again, if this was to get somebody to buy something, you might want to take them right to a product page with a price listed, a guarantee, and a little add to cart button. In this case, you can see very clearly that they're hoping to get you to start a 30-day free trial. They've made it very prominent and made it quite simple. You just have to enter your full name, your email address and password to go ahead and get started with your trial. Now this page, you'll notice, is very simple. There isn't a lot of options on it. I can fill out this form for my 30-day free trial, or honestly I can leave the page. There's nothing else but images and some text telling me what I'm about to get into, and that's it. It's designed this way on purpose. Now, by eliminating the options of the person who visits that page, I am more likely to get them to take the action I want. Now, this is important, right? To remove any distractions and limit the number of choices for your prospect to take. Be absolutely clear about what it is that you're hoping the person does at that destination to which you take them, and then design the page 100% around making that action happen. This is absolutely key. Now, step 5 is to create a high converting ad. Now, this is where the magic actually happens in PPC advertising. Now, if you can write a good high converting or high performing ad, you can absolutely crush your competition, which doesn't do quite as good a job. Now, if you're going to do PPC advertising, you really do want to know the best practices in terms of successful ads. You want to spend time studying those best practices. Study your competition, study people writing very effective ads in other industries, and learn those best practices and incorporate them into your ads. You want to carefully review your headline, your message, your offer, and the destination page. Now, those are the biggies. You definitely want to spend a good amount of time refining those, testing those, and tweaking them to try to make them even better over time. Now, as much as possible, you want to differentiate your offer to make it stand out from the crowd. Now, if you look at any industry, you will see that many advertisers within that industry are offering the very, very same thing. Now, obviously, this makes it hard for a prospect to decide which ad is the most attractive if they're all offering essentially the same item, product, or service. So look for opportunities to differentiate your offer to make it stand out from the competition. Now, step 6, add some local flavor. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, simply, if you're going after local customers, make your ads local in nature. It's a proven way to boost the effectiveness of your ads and boost the return on investment of your campaigns. Now you can see here there is a Denver web design local to Denver with a Denver address and things located here with a phone number from Denver. You can see Colorado Vader Salon and Spa using a coloradovader.com domain. Now there are a number of things that you can do in your ads to make them local. And in the advanced portion of this training, I'm going to show you a couple of things that you can do. Now, step 7 is place the right bid. Now, this is the way PPC advertising works. If you bid highest along with a combination of other factors, you can try to bid your way to the top by your willingness to pay more per click than your competition. Now, this doesn't necessarily guarantee a position in the top spot, but it's a big part of how you do get to the top. Now this is key. This is absolutely key. Being first may not always be the best option for you, and here's the reason. This top spot tends to get a lot of junk clicks. People see it as the first thing that shows up on the page and they just click for it. This may or may not be the place where you want to be. It's the same with the number 2 spot. Now, those higher positions can cost a lot more, so often positions 3 and 4 are actually the ideal positions in terms of return on investment. And let's face it, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's all about return on investment. You want to see how you're doing per dollar invested. So place the right bid. Sometimes it's something with which you have to experiment over time to see what will bring you the best results. Now, step 8 is focus on profitable keywords. Now, when you create campaigns, if you're running campaigns for 100 different keywords, you may find that you get all of the conversions, all of the sales, all of the leads, or whatever it is from only 5 of those keywords. Essentially, 95 of them are doing absolutely nothing for you. Now, people make the big mistake of not going in and checking the keyword performance reports on a regular basis to see what's actually working for them. Now, you're potentially wasting a huge percentage of your budget if you have 95 out of those 100 keywords that are not doing anything for you while you're continuing to spend money on them. Now, you want to find the winning keyword phrases that get you the results, and you want to focus on those keywords and spend as much money on those as possible. Focus your spending on those ones that are getting the results and then milk them for as long as you can. Now, at the same time, have a test budget, maybe 10% of your budget, where you're testing new keywords all the time because language changes. People use different phrases based on things they hear in the media, changes in your industry, or changes in products or services and things like that. You just want to make sure that you're looking for new keywords and updating your keywords on a regular basis with a little test budget. That way, you want to try to make sure that you're keeping up with the changes that are happening. Now, step 9 is measure your results. Now, again, the beauty of online marketing is that everything can be measured. You definitely want to make sure that you have the right systems in place to be able to measure everything that you should. Otherwise, you're just throwing money away. Just as with the keywords, if you don't have the report to tell you that 95% of your keywords are not performing, then you're just throwing money away. Now, it's the same thing with the data that you can get on every step of your sales process. For most local businesses and small businesses, having some sort of call tracking technology is an absolute must. People will pick up the phone to call you after they've clicked on your ad. Now, this is a preferred way for a lot of people to do business. They like to pick up the phone and call. Now, you definitely want to have those phone numbers on there and have call tracking incorporated to be able to test. Place Google Analytics across all of your web pages. Now, Google Analytics is a nice free program, a very powerful program provided by Google that gives you data as to how everything in your sales funnel and on your websites is working. What kind of attention are you getting from people? What kinds of behaviors do they exhibit when they're on your site? Measure the entire customer journey. You can see here is a digital dashboard where you can see the unique visitors to a site and where they came from. You can see the average time spent on the site so you can determine their behavior. What number of pages did they visit? How many times did you get your visitors there? What social actions did they take? You can see the outcomes. How many of them actually achieve the goal that you're looking for? It may be calling a number, filling out a form, or putting something into an e-commerce shopping cart. Whatever it is, you can actually track absolutely everything that's going on and assign dollar values to it so that you can see very clearly where your return on investment from the specific campaigns actually are. And again, everything can be tracked online. There is absolutely no excuse not to track all of the details that you need to track in order to have a good information base about your campaigns. Okay, step 10. Now this is an interesting one. Now, focus on return on investment and not on costs. All right, focus on return on investment and not on costs. Now, as I said earlier, it's all about ROI. I point this out again because a lot of people who are new to PPC see an expensive keyword term or a very competitive keyword term, and they chicken out and they say, "Oh no, this is way too expensive. It's just too competitive. I don't want to go and waste my money there." The thing is, it's really not about the cost of the keyword. It's all about the return that you get from your campaign. Now, a more expensive keyword can get much better conversion than a less expensive keyword. The return on investment can actually be much higher. Now, you have to use the data to your advantage. You have to measure the results you're getting from those keywords. Measure the cost per lead, measure the cost per customer, measure the revenue you're getting from those campaigns, and tie it all back to the keywords to see which ones are actually delivering the highest return on investment. Now, step 11, use remarketing. Now, if you're not familiar with what remarketing is a very powerful advertising technology that allows you to follow your target audience around the web. Now, what exactly do I mean by that? Well, if somebody comes to visit your website, you can drop a little cookie into their browser and it will then tell the browser to display your ads as that person is surfing around in other places on the internet. Now, after they've left your site, let's say they go to CNN.com, for example. Now, while they're at CNN.com, they can still see an ad for your brand. Now, this is this is powerful technology. It's literally like you were stalking them on the internet. It's very powerful technology for advertising because, of course, when somebody has visited your site, there's obviously some interest there. Now, by showing them another ad after they've left your site, you have a much better chance of re-engaging them and getting them back to your site to make some sort of purchase. Now, this is very powerful technology, and it will definitely do a ton to keep your brand top of mind with those prospects. You can see an example here. This is someone who obviously visited the Center for Orthopedics. They maybe have some sort of knee or shoulder injury or something like that. Now, this is CNBC, first in business worldwide, and yet here I am seeing my Center for Orthopedics ad based on that site that I visited earlier. It's a really good demonstration or example of remarketing. Step 12, always split test. Now, what do I mean by split testing? Well, split test means that you can run two different ads and change something about those ads in order to determine if the change made a difference in the performance of that ad. Now, if you're just running one ad and you're only getting data on that one ad, you don't know if you could be doing something better by running an ad with a slight change. When it comes to direct marketing, this is an absolute fundamental. You split test all the time, and it allows you to continuously measure and improve to optimize your ads. Now you can see here, these are all ads for Five Senses Spa and Salon. You can see that there is a split test going on here. They're using the very same headline across all three, so they're not testing the headline. However, look at the message in the ad. Here you have hair treatments for men and women, and here you can see hair services for men, women and kids. Down here you can see Experience Peoria's top hair salon. They're split testing the message in the body of the ad to see if one performs better than the other. Now you want to do something identical. You want to test the most important factors first. Typically you start with the headline. You can start with keywords. Then you can go to the copy and then the offer. You can just move your way systematically through to test those variables. Now you will see in many cases massive differences between the performance of one ad over another based on what you thought was a pretty insignificant change. However, it wasn't necessarily insignificant to your prospects. You will see huge changes of 30, 40, 50, maybe even 70%. Now those are massive. Now I suggest you stop when you see gains of perhaps 10% or less. At that point, it's really difficult to say if you're making any progress. There are bigger things that you could be testing. Okay, so those are the 12 steps for effective PPC for your business. These are the fundamentals of PPC advertising. Okay, so let's move on to part 3, some must-know tips and strategies if you really want to take your PPC campaigns beyond just those fundamentals to give you the best chance of real success. Now, first of all, you have to make sure when you're setting up your campaigns that you're separating your search campaigns and your display campaigns. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, there is search advertising, which is what we've been talking about throughout this presentation. And then there is display advertising. Now, display is a totally different form of advertising. These are banner ads that you see when you're out on a website. You see the big banner that goes up and down on the page or across the page. It has images and letters, and maybe it has flashing around, somebody dancing it, stuff like that. Those are display ads. Now these are totally different forms of advertising using totally different strategies, approaches, budgets, and all of that stuff. However, there is a very common mistake which people tend to make when they're setting up their campaigns in Google. And I think it's a shame on Google actually for making it really easy for businesses to make this mistake, because they've set this thing up as a default. When you set up your campaign, your search campaign and your display network campaign will actually be combined by default. So you need to go in and click on display network only or search network only when you're creating your campaigns. Otherwise, your budget goes towards these blended campaigns. Now, there should be different budgets, different strategies, and different tactics to try to make them work. You really want to separate your search from your display campaigns. And this is a fundamental that a lot of people, I'm sure, are not aware of. An advanced strategy is to test dynamic keyword insertion. Yes, I know it's a big fancy phrase, isn't it? But very simplistically, what it means is essentially a way that you can take whatever search term somebody types in and automatically make that search term part of your ad. And you do it all automatically. You can see that all of these ads from the sweetshop.com site. Sweetshop.com is a shop that sells pretty much any type of sweet. Now, if you search in any, if you search or put in any of the phrases related to sweets, like chocolate bars, stinger bars, lollipops, etc., they're automatically building an ad where they dynamically insert that search term into their ad. Now, in this case, somebody's typed in chocolate bars, and they automatically title their ad chocolate bars, the headline. When the very same search was for Stinger bars, then Stinger bars was incorporated. For lollipops, lollipops was incorporated. And you can dynamically insert those keywords into the ads, making the ads more relevant and essentially allowing you to have unlimited ads. You can just say, hey look, no matter what they search for, if it's a sweet term, go ahead and dynamically create an ad with that sweet term in it. Now, it's a very, really cool technology, and it can be applied in a case like this where you're trying to sell any kind of sweet or candy or category of products to searchers. It can also be used for local advertising in some pretty creative ways. Next is use ad extensions. Now, this is one of the most underutilized and also one of the most powerful things that you can do to your ad campaigns to take them to the next level. Now, an ad extension is information that you can add to your ad. It makes the ad stand out from other ads, and it will dramatically increase the responsiveness of those ads. Now, what do I mean by information that you can add to your ad? Well, let me show you a couple of examples to make this clear. Well, you can see here a search I did for best steak knives. Amazon came up and Overstock came up. Look at what it's included in their ads. There is a star rating for the knives, and the thing says 374 reviews for Amazon.com. Now, over here on Overstock, you can see here again these reviews with 5,927 seller reviews. Now, these ads obviously show up much better than the competition's ads which are not using these reviews. You have these colorful stars that now make the ad show up more prominently. Now, if you do searches in the search engines now and start paying attention, you'll notice that some ads have additional information that others don't, and there is a variety of things that you can use. You can put in the stars from ratings. You can put in the Google Plus number. Now, if people are plussing your content or your product or whatever using Google Plus social networks, you can see it right here. You can put various types of tags, comments, and reviews. You can also enter information about your location. You can put in your address and things like that in the ad as well. You can also enter your hyperlink and your phone number in the ad. Now, there's a number of things that you can now use in these ad extensions that are changing all the time as Google thinks of new things to roll out. Do take advantage of these ad extensions, because it can really, it really can make your ad stand out more dramatically compared to your competition. Now, last but not least, get off Google. Now, even in my presentation here, you can see that in 90% of the content I mention Google just because they are the gorilla in the marketplace. Now, of course, if you're doing search advertising, you should probably be on Google. I mean, let's face it. However, most people just focus on Google 100% and leave out some really interesting opportunities. Now, as we said, Bing and Yahoo have about a 30% share in the marketplace now, and 7Search is a network that maybe some of you have never heard of. However, they actually have some pretty decent search volume, and you can do search campaigns and PPC campaigns there as well. You can get campaigns that definitely get cheaper clicks, better results than you do on Google. Just because Google is that 800-pound gorilla, they do control the market to a large extent, and they do control pricing, so it's much more competitive. So for that reason, you might want to consider getting off Google and running your campaigns in other places. Now, on that note, I want to say thank you. I've been talking for quite some time, and I do appreciate your time, and I appreciate you joining us. I know that you're all very, very busy. And before I let you get back to work, I just want to say that this is what we do for a living. We do help businesses run profitable PPC campaigns. We help them set those up, we help them optimize them and run them on an ongoing basis. And we can, we take over the complete management of those campaigns in many cases for our clients. In almost all cases, we can do this in a way that you actually see a positive return on investment on the money spent with us within the first 30 days of working with us. Our fee is usually paid for almost immediately in the results that we get in either improved ad performance or decreased budgets in your campaigns. Now, if you're running a PPC campaign today, or you're considering running a PPC campaign, we would love to have the opportunity to talk with you and to demonstrate how our services can deliver a positive return on investment for your business, almost right out the gate. Now, there's no hard sales pitch here, and you can see our contact information, and we'd love to hear from you. Again, it will not be a high pressure sales pitch. If we look at your campaigns and we believe that we can deliver a positive return on investment for your fee within the first 30 days, we will let you know, and we will put together a plan to do so. If not, we will also let you know that we don't think that we can help. Now, if you're running campaigns or considering running campaigns, we'd love to be in touch with you. Okay, so we do have a few minutes, and what I'd like to do with the remainder of the time is just to answer some of the questions that may have come through. I see one from Jim who asks, what are the major differences in capabilities between the Google PPC network and those found in Bing, Yahoo and 7Search? Now, I wouldn't say they're major differences. Each search engine has subtle differences and subtle nuances. I think the biggest difference between them is just the volume of prospects that you'll find on the search engines. Google is much bigger than the others, so of course there'll be higher volume there. You'll also find much higher competition on Google, and you'll find much higher costs, often on a per-click basis. Technology-wise, I would say that they're very, very similar. I would say that Bing and Yahoo have done a very, very good job, though, of making their platform easier to use. I'm a big fan of Bing and Yahoo and their PPC network. Obviously, we still do most of our investment in Google, both for ourselves and our clients. However, you really do have some really good opportunities in all of them. Julie says that they've raised their bid on their competitive keywords, but they're still not getting to the first position in the ad results, and this is what they want. Now, I'm assuming, Julie, you're talking about Google here. Now, Google in particular will not place your ads number one necessarily just because you're willing to pay more. They take other factors into account, such as how many people click on your ad. This is how they make money, and it's by the click and not just by the bid. They're considering the click-through rates of your ad. What happens to visitors after they click on that ad? Do they stay on your site and seem engaged, or do they immediately see the page you sent them to and then bounce away? Google takes all kinds of factors into account, and they have their quality score. So it's not just money spent. If you're not getting as highly positioned as you'd like, it's probably down to those other factors. And this is something that we can certainly sit down and help you with. Bing, Yahoo and 7Search are less concerned about some of these factors. And so you could usually bid your way more aggressively to the top. That might be something for you to try as well. Okay, let me just see. Joanne asks, what are the best practices for landing pages? We have a professional services firm, a law firm, and are looking for best practices on how to get our ads more productive once they've made it to our landing page. Now, it's great that you're looking at that. It's great that you're spending time analyzing and trying to make that landing page better. It's a huge opportunity for anybody to improve their landing pages. Best practices for professional services firms usually include a handful of things. One is offering some sort of educational content. Often people coming in to explore your firm are not quite at the stage of buying or committing. When they want to just hop onto the phone and talk to someone, they're looking to do investigation. They really want to investigate more, and they want to look into your firm a little more so that they can use it to compare to others. Now, you want to have some sort of educational resource that you can offer them to download. Once they've downloaded it, you can follow up with them using email or phone calls to reach out to them more proactively. Now, this is definitely best practice. You can create white papers, presentations, recorded webinars like this. There are all kinds of things that you can do to get them to opt in from an educational marketing perspective. I would also add that you want to include your phone number on the landing page. If you're not currently doing so, make it very prominently displayed. Again, many people just want to pick up the phone and call. They don't want to opt in. They don't want to download something that they've read through. Test having the phone number on there and make sure that you have a call tracking service utilized for that phone number as well. In many cases, with landing pages, remove the options for people to go to many places. A lot of beginner marketers think that they have to give their visitors options to visit the rest of the website, but this is usually counter to getting them to convert on what you want them to do. Test limiting the options. Set it up for them so that they do one thing, or perhaps at the most 2 things. Maybe they can opt for that white paper or presentation that you've created for them, or just pick up the phone and call you. Don't have links going off at a tangent to all sorts of places on your website, because that's just a distraction, and you won't get them to do the 2 primary things that you want them to do, which is either to opt in or to call your business. Having said that, it's all about testing. And this is the beauty of this form of marketing. It's very trackable. It's very testable. Whatever I tell you is speculation until we actually set up the systems to effectively measure the data and test how it will go. Okay, I think we've gone past our allotted time. So I want again to let you guys back to work. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. And again, the offer is there. If you would like to use any help with your campaigns, we'd love to talk to you. Just get in touch and let us know. We'd be happy to take a look at what you're doing and see if we feel that there's anything that we can do to make a significant improvement for you. And once again, thanks for being with us, and we will get the recording out to you very, very shortly. And with regards to any questions that I didn't answer, I'll follow up with you shortly as well. And thank you, and take care.